Medical gaslighting. You went for treatment, they messed you up, and then they blamed you. So I wanted to talk about some of the abuse that gets thrown at medical victims. In particular, people whose bite is causing their jaw problems. People who've been for a dental or orthodontic procedure, and the procedure has been messed up, errors, mistakes, bad handiwork, in a way that is causing their jaw not to work properly anymore. So the number one gaslighting that I absolutely despise is when a professional says, "I'm sorry you didn't like it." I've met victims who have been left in crippling pain. My life has been ripped to pieces, and professionals who just say, "Well, lots of patients are fine, so I'm sorry you weren't satisfied." You know, it's such a kick in the teeth, and everything you think you knew about healthcare will just come tearing down. We're led to believe that these people are saintly. You know, you watch any medical drama and it's going to portray the vast majority of professionals as the most wonderful people that have ever existed, and that's how they wish to be portrayed. And in their minds, they are the most wonderful people that have ever existed. So if something has gone wrong, it must be the patient's fault and not theirs, because they're so wonderful it couldn't possibly be their fault. It must be this patient. So patients get dumped with these labels: a difficult patient, the one who was never happy, never satisfied. It's abuse, and it shouldn't be happening, but there's no one who keeps the professionals in check. Every once in a while I listen to LBC radio, and every once in a while there's a dentist that goes on, and it is almost always the same narrative coming from them. Now the big trick here is they don't act like they don't go around bombastically declaring themselves to be the greatest people that have ever existed, right? That's way too obvious. What happens is they act like they are the most reasonable people that have ever existed. That's how they maintain so much autonomy, so much power. They pretend to be reasonable. They keep saying things like, "I always believe in doing the right treatment for the right patient," or "I always want to do appropriate treatments on the right patient, and unfortunately we can't fix anything. And some things are just beyond us." You know, it sounds reasonable if you take it at face value, but what people don't realise is that these professionals are not an adequate judge of themselves or what they have done wrong, right? I don't think anyone is an adequate judge of their own flaws. And when you get hurt by a professional, that's just another way that they can beat you down, that they can dismiss you by saying, "I'm sorry, we can't fix everything. I'm sorry you weren't satisfied. Be on your way." I've heard time and time again from professionals that they are evidence-based. And it's a massive overcompensation of how little evidence they collect. I'm pretty sure every dentist who told me they were evidence-based then collected absolutely no evidence whatsoever of what was wrong with me. They just kept saying that as a means to dismiss me, which is just more gaslighting, really. They also, in building up this case again and again, the "some patients are never happy" kind of thing, the other parts of healthcare just don't get away with talking like that. You wouldn't hear cancer doctors going, "Some patients are never satisfied." Jesus. But in dentistry, because it's pain, they can get away with that. You know, you can't gaslight dead people, but you can gaslight pretty much everyone else. Because they keep pushing the same, there are so many dentists pushing this same narrative that the patients are fussy, that it just gets accepted, and it almost becomes a taboo to talk to the victims. I think I tried to call in once to a radio show that were talking about it, and like the moment I started talking, I referred to being out of the woodwork. It's so degrading having your life ripped apart by medical harm and then being forced into the woodwork. You know, it means calling me an insect. Like it's nothing. And my life has been taken from me.